to contribute constructively to the economy of Pakistan. So from my perspective, of course, gender is a huge thing, and we have seen that in other countries. The bank that I left before I came into the public sector service, I know where the journey started with that bank. At about 4% pre-privatization in terms of women participation in the workforce. And by the time I left, it was 22%. And had I stayed there, and I hope the new management will continue to be there in terms of commitment to this goal, to have at least 25% by the time we get to HBL gets to be 2025 in their commitments to that percentage, because it's not something as I just saw the clip. ESG is not about CSR. It's about ensuring that everyone comes into the mainstream to support, help, and assist taking the economy forward, as I mentioned earlier. So I want to again compliment SECP, the chairman, your team, because the way we are going to scale it up is not through brick and mortar. It's the digital channels and the digital avenues are the way to go. And I think someone already mentioned that a lot of companies and a lot of institutions are doing a lot of good work. So two things. One, who are at the forefront, and you presented some of those, their CEOs, their C-suite, their sustainability heads, and they are already publishing their sustainability reports, which is fantastic, which is because around environment, green taxonomy, what they're doing in terms of sustainable financing, in terms of their governance, which is great. But then there are others who are doing a lot of good work, but they are sort of keeping it self-kept secrets. And I've, having been in the government now, a lot of things which we need to do, and we need to improve ourselves, and we need to, make sure that we are held accountable, and we need to get ownership. But I see a lot of other stuff also in the government, which are good things which are happening, and we keep it as self-kept secrets. Now, this portal is going to be that equalizer, because it doesn't matter whether it's the largest corporations or the top 100 companies at the PSX or wherever, but every single institution, whatever they are doing, and they're doing well, they should be able to upload it. And that's where two things. One, you mentioned, Chairman Sahab, capacity building, but also success transfer, because we need to learn from each other, right? Capacity building part of it is also that this is the right thing to do for the business. It's not just, as I said, CSR, it's the right thing to do for the business. And from that perspective, anything that comes and helps and supports that scaling up, and I said digital is the only way to go. So I think the portal that you have launched, and I'm also very encouraged, because at times what we do in the government, we sit in our offices, we sit in Islamabad, and we say this is the right thing to do for the country, right? But what you did, and therefore again compliment to SECP and your management team, is the consultative process, right? If I see now endorsement coming from ICAP, Pakistan Business Council, PSX, Overseas Chamber, other chambers, so you already have the buy-in. And that is very important, because at times we think data and data sharing is problematic. And yes, in certain instances it is, because we have to be respectful to the privacy laws, etc. But these are success stories. These are real success stories, because the government can do whatever we will do, right, in terms of, as I said, net zero goals and NDCs and everything else that we said around climate finance. but I will repeat it at every single forum that the private sector has to lead this country. Government is there to provide policy framework, policy continuity. And the kind of enabling environment, Chairman Sahab, जो आप इस वक्त इस portal के through दे रहे हैं, is absolutely the right thing to do. But the private sector has to ensure, A, you help us with this journey, because ultimately इस मुल्क का जो मैंने कल भी एक housing conference में ये बात की, there are two existential problems, and I am going to continue to repeat that, because the questions which keep on coming back to me as the finance minister is the economic reform agenda. Of course, we want to do the right thing with the taxation and with the energy equation and with the SOE reforms and the privatization agenda. और उस पे कल आज हम एक upload करेंगे the work that has been done by the finance ministry. On the SOE side, 2.2 billion rupees of loss every single day. 6 trillion rupees of losses over the last 10 years. इस साल का जो अभी इस वक्त हम बजट की बात कर रहे हैं, रेवेन्यू की बात कर रहे हैं कि जी ये 40% होगा नहीं होगा, 50% of that we could have managed by ensuring that the SOEs का जो काम है वो प्राइवेट सेक्टर में जाए और 6 ट्रिलियन के लॉसेस जो पब्लिक एक्सपेंडिचर है जो आपसे टैक्स लेकर हम ये फंड कर रहे हैं इसको बंद करें. सो इसको तो हम एक साइड पे रखेंगे, बिकॉज वी आर वेरी क्लियर दैट द गवर्नमेंट हैज नो बिजनेस इन बीइंग इन बिजनेस, बिकॉज